Let's talk about how we assess breathing patterns, dysfunctional breathing patterns. We've talked about that the our goal is to have people breathing in and out through their nose, preferably a shorter inhale and prolonging the exhale. And there's various um, methodologies that are used for gauging the relative uh, amount of time to inhale versus the amount of time to exhale. And we talked about that we want the breathing to be light, not these big global intense breathing things, that we want it to be slow, not panting. And we want the breath to go deep down into the diaphragm. So light, slow, deep, LSD, if you want to remember that. So how do we define dysfunctional breathing patterns? There's two methodologies. There's the high-low kind of method, where you're looking at people are lying on their back and a hand on their chest and a hand on their stomach, and you're trying to determine the degree to which they're breathing through into their diaphragm. So is it going deep? There is the manual assessment of respiratory motion, MARM, which is a palpatory method, and you quantify patterns of breathing. It's practical, it's inexpensive, and based on research, it's relatively reliable. So you're palpating the diaphragm, and you're palpating the lower rib cage and the upper rib cage, and there's a quantifiable way of assessing uh, the expansion through the rib cage, and whether people are using accessory motions up into their neck. So just for the purposes of this lecture, posture does play a a huge role in the ability of the diaphragm to work efficiently. Your diaphragm is actually burning pretty many calories. It's a major use of calories at rest, and of course during exercise that only goes up. So you want your diaphragm to move efficiently. And what we'll see, there are now functional MRIs. If you haven't seen a functional MRI, we'll show one after this introduction. But looking at the diaphragm moving is in real time with a functional MRI is just incredible. And depending on the posture, with a slight bit of extension in the lumbar spine and, of course, the upper body upright, the efficiency of the origins of the muscle around the rib cage, it functions much more efficiently and is able to ventilate your lower lungs more efficiently, drawing air all the way down through your lungs, where you have the most blood supply in order for efficient exchange of gases. So that's why it's important, and you can actually measure using a capnograph. You can measure the difference in an upright posture or slump posture. Now, someone who's breathing with their upper chest and using accessory motion and with their scalenes and other accessory muscles, of course you see that fatigues those muscles. They're not very efficient at doing that at all, and causes pain. And for me, that was a lot of about how I sort of looked at posture. Yeah, you're breathing with your neck and you're slumped over. Of course, that's not a good idea, but having objective measures, not only with the MARM test, MARM, where you're quantifying it, and the high-low test, where you're also quantifying how someone's breathing, but looking at the actual oxygen levels in the blood and carbon dioxide levels in the exhaled breath, and on top of that, how that alters heart rate variability and coherence, you're talking about a whole new ball game. And we will further discuss this when we look at heart rate variability and coherence and the other testing methods that we utilize. You can actually see what a profound effect your breathing posture has on the quality of your breath and the actual gases in your blood.